Something about you isn't right. I swear you can make me lose my mind. Lying here awake at night. If this is love, then I don't want it. Why you gotta be so complicated? Sick and tired of contemplating. I don't wanna be here waiting. If this is love, then I don't want it. I can't be the one you keep running to whenever you feel down. I can't be that someone who'll always be there when something's wrong. I can't rely on you now. I can't rely on you anymore. I can't depend on you now. I can't rely on you. Why is everything so problematic? Why are you acting so neglected? Feel so cold and unfair. Swear to God that I don't want this. Something about you isn't right. Swear you can make me lose my mind. Lying here awake at night. If this is love, then I don't want it. I can't be the one you keep running to whenever you feel down. I can't be that someone who'll always be there when something's wrong. I can't rely on you now. I can't rely on you anymore. I can't rely on you now. I can't rely on you anymore. I can't depend on you now. I can't rely. Something about you isn't right. I swear you can make me lose my mind. Lying here awake at night. If this is love, then I don't want it. Why you gotta be so complicated? Sick and tired of contemplating. I don't wanna be here waiting. If this is love, then I don't want it. I can't be the one you keep running to whenever you feel down. I can't be that someone who'll always be there when something's wrong. I can't rely on you now. I can't rely on you anymore. I can't depend on you now. I can't rely on you. Why is everything so problematic? Why are you acting so neglected? Feel so cold and unfair. Swear to God that I don't want this. Something about you isn't right. Swear you can make me lose my mind. Lying here awake at night. This is love and I don't want it. I can't be the one you keep running to whenever you feel down. I can't be that someone who'll always be there when something's wrong. I can't rely on you now. I can't rely on you anymore. I can't rely on you now. I can't rely on you anymore. I can't depend on you now. I can't.
such a wonderful delight. Forgo, give up everything that I own. Yeah, I'd give it all up now just to be with you somehow. Unexpected love was found. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you. Ooh, ooh, you, ooh, ooh. So slow, hold you in my arms, won't let go. The world around could pass us by, a thunderstorm, a lightning strike, as we hold each other tight. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you. Ooh, ooh,